In a world where everyone is desperate to be seen, the truly powerful are the ones who move in silence. They don't announce their goals. They don't post their every step online. They don't brag about their progress. And yet, when the time comes, they win. Loudly, publicly, undeniably. That's the paradox of greatness. The loudest noise comes from the quietest preparation. The Stoics understood this centuries ago. They believed that true strength doesn't need an audience, that power doesn't come from attention. It comes from discipline, focus, and the ability to delay validation. Today, we live in an era where oversharing is a lifestyle and silence is misunderstood as weakness. But the truth, silence, is your sharpest weapon. When you stop telling people your plans, you become unpredictable. When you stop explaining yourself, you become unshakable. And when you learn to build in private, you earn the kind of respect that no words can demand. So in this video, we're diving deep into the ancient Stoic philosophy of silent focus, the art of doing more than you say, of staying grounded while the world screams for attention, and of winning in such a way that your results speak louder than any caption or quote ever could. Because the Stoics didn't talk about success, they became it. And if you want to build a life of power, peace, and purpose, it's time you learn to do the same. Now, let's begin. And remember, silence isn't emptiness. It's focus, refined. The power of silent focus. The Stoics believed that the most dangerous distraction in life isn't failure, it's noise. Every time you announce your next move, every time you tell someone what you're about to do, you give away a small piece of your power. Think about it. How many times have you felt that spark of excitement after sharing a goal with someone, only to lose the motivation to actually chase it? That's because the mind confuses talking with doing. The dopamine you get from praise becomes a counterfeit version of progress. Marcus Aurelius warned, "Waste no more time arguing what a good man should be. Be one." In other words, stop talking about who you'll become. Start being that person. When you stay silent, something remarkable happens. Your energy consolidates. The same mental fuel that's usually spent explaining, defending, or proving yourself gets redirected into action. You stop performing and start transforming. People around you begin to notice your absence in the crowd, your refusal to play the validation game. And that silence becomes magnetic. Because in a culture addicted to attention, restraint looks like power. The Stoic approach to focus was never about chasing constant activity. It was about alignment. Seneca said, "To be everywhere is to be nowhere." If you're trying to please everyone, follow every trend, or seek approval from every person, your focus scatters. But when you detach from the noise and quietly commit to your path, every ounce of energy becomes fuel for mastery. You begin to realize that success doesn't happen when people believe in you. It happens when you believe in silence. And silence isn't passive. It's not about retreating from the world or becoming emotionless. It's about clarity. It's about knowing when to speak, when to move, and when to simply watch. It's the discipline to let your results speak before your words ever do. The Stoics called this ataraxia, a state of calm so steady that nothing external can shake it. In modern life, that means waking up and moving through your day without broadcasting every thought or emotion. It means working quietly on your health, your craft, your peace, and letting time reveal your transformation. Because here's the truth, no one can destroy what they can't predict. When people don't know what you're building, they can't interfere. When they don't know your goals, they can't sabotage them. And when they underestimate you, that's your biggest advantage. The Stoic warrior doesn't roar before battle. He observes, plans, and strikes with precision. So from this moment forward, try an experiment. Stop telling people what you're going to do. Let them see it when it's done. Watch how your mind becomes sharper, your emotions calmer, and your energy stronger. The less you explain, the more you expand. Because silence isn't a lack of confidence. It's the highest form of it. The moment you learn to focus in silence, you begin to win long before the world even notices. Why you should never tell people what you're doing. Have you ever noticed that the more you talk about your goals, the less you feel driven to achieve them? That's not a coincidence. It's psychology. When you speak your plans out loud, your brain releases the same chemicals it would if you had already accomplished them. You feel proud, validated, and momentarily fulfilled, but you haven't done a single thing yet. The Stoics understood this illusion long before modern psychology did. Epictetus warned, "Don't explain your philosophy. Embody it." Meaning, don't talk about how disciplined, ambitious, or focused you are. Just live it. When you tell people your goals, you hand them emotional power over you. Suddenly, you're influenced by their opinions, their doubts, their subtle judgments. If they say, "That's too hard," you start to second-guess yourself. If they say, "That's amazing," you become addicted to the praise instead of the process. Either way, you lose control. You begin chasing external reactions instead of internal mastery. Stoicism teaches the exact opposite. It teaches that your peace, progress, and purpose must never depend on the crowd's approval. Marcus Aurelius lived as the most powerful man on earth, and yet he practiced restraint like a monk. He wrote his meditations not for the world, but for himself. Private words, never meant to be shared. Why? Because he knew that the purest form of growth happens in solitude. The moment your goals go public, they become polluted by ego, expectation, and comparison. But when your goals remain private, they grow in silence, stronger, cleaner, and truer. Never telling people what you're doing isn't about secrecy. It's about protection. You protect your mind from external noise, your spirit from unnecessary validation, and your vision from premature judgment. Every time you resist the urge to announce your next move, you strengthen your discipline. Every time you stay quiet and work in private, you harden your mental armor. And every time you achieve something without ever talking about it, you gain something money can't buy: self-respect. Seneca once wrote, "We suffer more in imagination than in reality." The same applies to our goals. When you tell people what you plan to do, you invite imaginary suffering, doubt, fear, and pressure that wouldn't exist if you just kept quiet. But when you move in silence, the only voice you hear is your own. The noise fades. The distractions weaken. The only thing left is focus. Modern culture glamorizes hustle out loud. People post about their grind, their goals, their future empires. But the Stoic way is the opposite. True power moves quietly. You don't need to prove your progress. You don't need validation to make it real. You simply do the work. Because the Stoic doesn't chase recognition. He chases alignment. He doesn't care who's watching. He only cares about what he's becoming. So the next time you feel that urge to tell someone about your plans, pause. Remember this truth. Lions don't announce when they're hunting. They move silently. They let their results roar. Let your silence confuse people. Let your actions shock them. Let your success speak the only words that matter. Because when you stop explaining yourself, you start expanding yourself. The Stoic doesn't shout his purpose. He becomes it. And in the quiet, he finds the peace, discipline, and strength that others spend their lives chasing in the noise. The Stoic discipline of private victory. There's a kind of victory that no one ever sees. It doesn't make headlines, it doesn't earn applause, and it doesn't live on social media. Yet it's the only victory that truly matters, the private victory. The Stoics understood that greatness is born in silence, long before the world takes notice. Before Marcus Aurelius ruled Rome, he was mastering himself in quiet reflection. Before Epictetus became a philosopher, he was a slave who learned freedom within his own mind. Before Seneca wrote his timeless wisdom, He spent years battling his own impulses and ego. Their triumphs didn't begin in the public eye. They began in solitude. The Stoic discipline of private victory is about winning invisible battles, the ones no one claps for. It's about waking up when you don't want to, staying calm when you're provoked, saying no when temptation whispers yes. It's choosing the harder right over the easier wrong, even when no one will ever know. Those are the victories that build real strength, because every private victory shapes the person you become in public. You don't rise to success by accident. You rise because you've already conquered the part of you that once held you back. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one." That is the heart of Stoic discipline, to do what's right without needing anyone to notice. Every moment of discipline is a silent conversation between you and your higher self. When you choose focus over distraction, restraint over impulse, patience over anger, you win privately, and those private wins, repeated daily, create an inner power that no external challenge can shake. But here's the truth. Most people fail not because they lack opportunity, but because they crave recognition too early. They want the world to see their efforts before those efforts have even matured. The Stoic, however, plays the long game. He plants the seed, nurtures it in silence, and lets time do the talking. He doesn't seek validation because he understands this. Public victory is simply the reflection of private discipline. You cannot fake consistency. You cannot pretend to have conquered yourself. The truth always reveals itself in your habits, in your reactions, and in your peace. Think about it. Every day offers you two paths, the path of public approval or the path of private mastery. One feeds your ego, the other feeds your soul. One makes you look good, the other makes you unbreakable. The Stoic chooses the second path, always, because when you master yourself in private, you become immune to chaos in public. No insult, no failure, no setback can destroy someone who's already won the battle within. Epictetus taught that no man is free who is not master of himself. Freedom doesn't come from wealth, fame, or status. It comes from control. Control of your thoughts, your emotions, and your actions. That's the essence of private victory. It's not about conquering the world. It's about conquering the inner noise that stops you from hearing your own truth. And once you do that, no external storm can shake you. When you live by this Stoic discipline, something powerful happens. You no longer chase success. Success begins to chase you. People start to notice your calm, your consistency, your confidence, even though you never talk about it, because energy speaks louder than words. True strength doesn't need to be announced. It's felt. It's seen. It's undeniable. So, focus on the unseen. Win in the dark. Build your empire when no one's watching. Every silent victory. Every time you stay disciplined, humble, and focused, you're building a version of yourself the world won't recognize until it's too late for them to catch up. And when your moment finally comes, you won't have to say a word. Your presence will tell the story. That's the Stoic discipline of private victory. To master yourself so completely that silence becomes your loudest roar.